What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's video, and today we are finally back in the Camaro, and we're gonna go in and see why this steering wheel is so far off center. If you watched or remember, after the last Hallett track day, we were getting a little too aggressive on the curbing. We were really diving in, jumping up and down the curbing. And one of the last sessions, I think it was the last session, the steering wheel is now slightly off center. But we need to take the car in anyways to change the engine oil, change the rear axle fluid. I like to do that every season. Last season, I changed brake fluid to some nice .4 and the transmission fluid with my engine oil and transmission, or excuse me, with the engine oil and the rear axle service. So this season, I'm not going to change transmission fluid or the brake fluid because it is fresh as of last season and the car got less than 1,000 miles on it, yada, yada. But the rear axle fluid, that thing takes a lot of abuse, constantly beating on it at the track and autocross. 2 quarts of fluid, super quick and easy, cheap insurance, might as well just change it. And there was an autocross last year that the diff was acting a little bit goofy. It was acting like an open diff. The electronic diff wasn't grabbing. Not that I think fluid will fix it, but at least we'll have fresh fluid in it. If it does act weird, we can eliminate that. But besides the steering wheel being off, the other big issue is the brake rotors. I've got some brake pad deposits, and I've got some brake pad deposits on the brake rotors, and that gives you the feeling when you get on the brakes, steering wheel shakes, you feel it throughout the car, the brake pedal kind of pulses. It doesn't inspire very much confidence when you are on the racetrack. So I had looked into replacing rotors or turning rotors, but everybody online in the Camaro track section said, hey, don't turn them, don't replace them. You buy a brake rotor hone and you go over it and basically clean, resurface, whatever you want to call it. You scrub all the brake pad deposits off the rotors. So I ordered a brake rotor hone. We're going to do that today with everything else. So I'm gonna get it up on the lift, and we'll see what we can come up with. All right, guys, I'm gonna get engine oil draining, rear diff draining. We'll get those filled up because that's not very exciting to watch. And then we'll go ahead and throw it on the alignment rack after, I guess, we do the brake rotor thing. So we will get some oil drained and I will jump back in. All right, guys, so we can see, what in theory is these uneven pad deposits around the rotor. Now, you can't really feel anything. It feels relatively smooth, not grooved up, but you can at least see it. So we've got this flex hone, brake rotor hone, and we're going to see what happens. I've never done this before, so we'll be learning this together, I guess. So let's see what happens. And guys, I guess in theory, we've got a bunch of black deposits here, and it's not from the gray material, so I'm assuming that is our brake pad deposits that we are scrubbing off. I don't really know how long to do it. We've got a decent non-directional pattern, but I'm going to make a few more passes. We'll flip it over and do the other side, I guess. Well, guys, I guess we will see if that is enough honing to get off those brake pad deposits. Obviously, I need to throw this rotor back on, go jump, do the other side, but I will know pretty much immediately because it would vibrate even just in normal street driving light brake application. So, let me get the other side done, get oil filled up, diff filled up, and then we'll go throw it on the alignment rack. But hopefully that was enough for the brake pad deposits to be off and it to be smooth again, but I guess we'll find out. So guys, what we're ideally hoping to see is our camber and caster still where we want it, but the toe out. That would be the best case scenario to explain why our steering wheel is off center. Because if we've got camber or caster out of spec, then that means we've got bent parts from jumping the curbing. But if we just have toe out, maybe the rack shifted slightly, maybe, toe is a lot less worrisome than camber or caster being hard parts that have bent, moved, shifted. So let's take a look at the alignment specs currently and figure out what we need to do. So guys, as we can see, our front camber and caster is right even where we need it. Our toe is slightly out. So obviously we've just got to get that dialed in. Now our rear toe obviously is a little bit high too, so we will need to pull that back down to where we need it to be, but this is best case scenario on that front camber not being bad, bent, broken, something horribly wrong. So this is kind of best case scenario. We will go ahead and dial in our rear toe and then our front toe, and we should be good to roll for the season. Alright guys, well here is our final alignment spec. We've got basically zero toe in the front. We've got a little bit of toe in the rear, and that on a big V8 rear-wheel drive car helps kind of promote when you're on throttle to go a little bit straighter and not be as loose. So like I said, a little bit of toe in the rear, pretty much zero toe, or you could go a little bit toe out in the front. And this car I've got to run about 2 degrees of camber in the rear to help tuck the tires under compression, and then in the front we're running about 3 degrees, which seems to work great with track use, autocross use, and tire wear on track. So let's get this thing off the rack. We're gonna go out and get it on the street and hope the brakes are now perfectly smooth with the honing that we did. So never done that before, so let me get it off the rack. We'll go out and drive and see how it feels now. All right guys, we are leaving the shop, getting ready to jump back on the highway, and hopefully our steering wheel is straight. We're not pulling to the side, and hopefully when we hit the brakes we aren't shaking all over the place, because it was really bad. Definitely not confidence inspiring when you're on the track diving into a corner at 130 mile an hour and your whole front end shaking. So hopefully that took care of it. Now, from my technician feeling, to me that was warped brake rotors, but everybody told me that was brake pad deposits from obviously getting the brakes hot, on track, braking, cool, you know, using the car how it was intended to be used. So we'll see, was the internet right or am I right and they're still going to be warped and I'm still going to have to turn them. But hopefully our steering wheel is straighter. And let's roll onto the brakes. A little bit better, but not perfect. So man, I don't know. We'll roll back onto the brakes and it's halfway better. So maybe I didn't do it enough. I need to use the brake cone more, scrub it down even further. I'm not really sure, never done it before, but it is maybe slightly better. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. Now I'm hoping I fixed any brake overheating issue with the larger ZL1 1LE brake ducts that you can install onto the ZL1 cars, because I installed those midway through last season, but that was already after the brake vibration issue started. So we won't really know until we fully correct the brake vibration issue, and then we can see will it happen again or not. So guys, hopefully the car's a little more ready for the half-mile event, autocross, track days, all that kind of stuff this season, now that we've got some fresh fluids in it, check the alignment over, and all of that stuff. So guys, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.